Organisations supporting asylum seekers are calling for them to be allowed to work while they await the outcome of their claim. Charities say the cost of living crisis is driving them into destitution.
Well, according to a report out this month by the International Rescue Committee, many companies believe that it would have a positive effect on the UK economy if they were allowed to take up employment.
Well, Home Office figures show the asylum backlog has quadrupled in the last 5 years. Chloe Oliver has this report from a refugee hub in Southsea.
They came to the UK in search of safety. But now many asylum seekers find themselves in limbo. Can they stay or will they have to go home? That's how people told me they felt at this refugee hub in Southsea. Some here have been waiting years for their applications to be processed by the government.
I come to England exactly 8 January 2003 and now is 2023. Normal citizen. That's my dream. Freedom, normal citizen.
We come from Afghanistan. Before in Afghanistan, I work as a director of one organization. If my application is accepted, we can easily my normal life. You know, we lose everything.
People seeking asylum are given somewhere to live and a £45 per week allowance to cover food, essentials and travel. Many asylum seekers volunteer, like Kadiatu Conte, who helps others to learn English. But crucially, they're not allowed to work, and that can be tough.
My daughter is going to a big school now, and so many activities she wants to do, she can't do because of our immigration status. So it doesn't make me feel good, but for her sake, I have to make myself a little bit happy for her to be happy.
UK vacancy rates hit a record high of 1.3 million last year. The latest figures showing 1.2 million jobs available. And there are approximately 127,000 asylum seekers awaiting permanent refugee status, who some say could help to fill some of those vacancies. Shamila Dana is a migrant herself and set up the refugee hub.
When you speak to people, you begin to realise they're architects, they're bakers, they're entrepreneurs, they're teachers, they're nurses, they're doctors. So if you're coming from a place where you were always working and providing for your family, and you can't do that, it really has an impact on people's morale.
According to officials, the reason for the restrictive policy is to ensure that those looking to move here are doing so for safety and not for economic reasons. But could allowing them to fill some of those vacancies give the economy a boost, as well as the morale of those waiting? Chloe Oliver, ITV News.
Well, for more on this, we can talk to Maria Stevens, Head of Campaigns at Refugee Action. Maria, so there are rules in place to ensure genuine refugees coming here are doing so for safety reasons. If the rules were to change, how would we know that people weren't coming here for more economic reasons?
So the government's stance on this actually makes no sense. The Home Office's own research has shown that people coming here don't know they won't be able to work and disputed any kind of pull factor. The government's own advisory committee, the Migration Advisory Committee, has asked the government to produce evidence for why the ban is in place, as it can't find the merit. We know that we have an asylum system that is there to decide who needs international protection, and that is decided under international law criteria. At the moment, people are waiting for years and years, sometimes, often for very many months in the asylum system, even though 3 out of 4 people will go on to have a successful claim and become a refugee, and even more will have a successful claim after a wrong decision when they then appeal. And what that means is that they're unable to use their skills during that time. So all we're asking for is that while they're waiting, they're able to contribute to the economy, to integrate and to support their lives in the UK by being allowed to work.
And how do you see that working in practice if those changes were to be made? Would asylum seekers, for example, only be allowed to work in sectors where there is a large number of vacancies?
So the Lift the Ban coalition, which Refugee Action is part of, is calling for the right to work for people seeking asylum to be granted after they've waited for 6 months for a decision on their claim and unconstrained by the shortage occupation list. That's backed by employers, business leaders, economists, trade unions, faith groups and refugee organisations. We talk to people in the asylum system who are desperate to work. They want to contribute and they want to bring themselves out of poverty, which if they could work, they would be able to do. There's over 1.1 million job vacancies in the UK at present, but employers aren't able to use that labour that's available because the government doesn't allow it. It is a government intent on keeping refugees in misery that keeps this rule in place.
OK, Maria, we have to leave it there, but thank you very much for talking to us on the programme. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, in a statement, a Home Office spokesperson told us the UK has a proud history of providing protection for those who genuinely need it through our safe and legal routes, recently welcoming hundreds of thousands of people. Asylum seekers, they say, can take up jobs on the shortage occupation list if their claim has been outstanding for 12 months or more through no fault of their own. Allowing asylum seekers the right to work sooner would undermine, they say, our wider economic migration policy by enabling migrants to bypass work visa rules.